Hi everyone, this is Dami Pelaez and I'm going to be going over identification of the problem. We're going to be going over our disclaimer. The ABA Exam Academy is a group of individuals working together to help others ace the test. These meetings are meant to have active discussions, to collaborate, ask questions, and provide helpful suggestions to better understand the BACB 4th edition task list concepts. Due to this, it is important to know that all viewers and participants are responsible to verify the accuracy of the information being provided in order to successfully prepare for the BCABA exam. So some ethical considerations that we have are to refrain from sharing any BCBA or BCAB test questions, refrain from sharing any paid resources or identifiable client information, and if you are sharing any open resources, peer-reviewed articles, or books, please, please, please give proper credit to the author. All right, so the agenda for today, I'm going to be going over defining and describing is basically 4 sections of the task list. So it's section G1, which is reviewing records, section G2, which is considering biological and medical variables, section G3, which is conducting a preliminary assessment and making environmental changes, which is section G8. I'm going to be doing some true and false questions, some mock questions, and then at the end, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to ask, and then it will be the end of my meeting. The reference I use for today is Mayer's book, Behavior Analysis for Lasting Change, 3rd edition. I know the 4th edition has already come out. But this is basically my biggest resource for today's meeting. I also, before I start, I wanted to let you guys know that I also used, I also want to let you know that I didn't use this book. I don't know if you guys see it, the ethics book by Bailey. I didn't use it for today's meeting, but if you have problems with section G closely relates to ethics. So a lot of the information from section G, you can go in the ethics book and you will find a lot of detailed information about it on here, okay? So we're gonna start off with reviewing records and available data, G1, which is page 184 to 188 in the Mayer book if you have it. If not, you know, I can possibly take out my book and show you guys, but for the ones that haven't have it, take out your book and it's page 184 to 188. So basically, when do we review these records? I have on here that you gather and analyze all the records and available data prior to completing the initial assessment. Does anybody know what are some examples of these records? Any, just throw them at me.
IEPs.
Okay, IEPs 1.
Any medical records?
Medical records, perfect, good.
OT or speech evaluations.
Okay, good, that's a good one.
Diagnostic record.
Past ABA record.
Good, that's a good one because I wanted to make sure that we talked about the ABA. So previous ABA records, someone said, I heard IEP, SLP, OT.
Diagnostic reports.
Diagnostics, that's a good one too. Very good, guys. So you guys touched on a lot of them, and I heard some that I didn't put on here, but I put previous behavior plan, which is really important. So if they have any ABA services prior to what you are going to start doing with them, then that's really, really important. An IEP, a psychological evaluation, and then anything else that you guys had talked about. This is done during what part of the FBA? So what part of the FBA is this part? Do you guys know?
Indirect assessment.
Indirect.
Perfect. So it's part of the indirect FBA or indirect assessment. Good job, guys. All right, first true and false question. Direct assessments are the first step toward identifying the problem, behavior, antecedent stimuli.
False.
False.
One more?
I say false.
False.
Perfect. It is false. The indirect assessment is the first step. Good job. All right, so we're going to move on to considering biological medical variables. It's page 184 to 188, also in the Mayer book. What should a BCBA do if it is suspected that there is a biological or medical variable. You must refer the client to get evaluated by a medical professional. As stated on all the books, the Cooper books also states that as well. But when is there a need or not a need for behavior analytic services? Can anyone tell me?
There could be a need.
When the behavior it has a medical basis, when it's a health issue,
Okay, that's
then
good.
you don't need behavior analytic services first.
Okay, someone else said something?
So if you're gonna implement a food one, you might want to get something checked out with the speech. I think is the one that does the food, like the swallowing and all of that stuff, just to make sure that they're able.
Okay, there can be something going on in the mouth that they're more proficient on that. Yes, that's good. Does anybody else want to share anything?
Also, when the behavior is improving?
Yes, that's good. Anyone else? Okay, so with this specific section of the task list, what it looks at is if there's a need, is a biological or medical variable, if it's confirmed. So basically you refer the client out to the doctor confirms that there is a biological or medical variable. So they're basically saying, yes, this is true. So, you know, we need to consider that. Or there is no need if there is a biological or medical variable and is not suspected. Okay? All right, so what should a BCBA do if a behavior is a result of a medical side effect? What should they do?
Immediately refer to a medical provider or send them to one.
Okay. Anyone else? That was good. So this is section 3.0 of the ethics code. It says recommend seeking a medical consultation. So this is directly to the ethics code. So yes, you were correct. Awesome. All right, quick true and, well, not a quick, long one. Long true and false question. Johnny's parents requested services because his teacher states that he is continuously getting out of his seat and it is a distraction for the whole class. The BCBA interviewed the teacher and found out that he gets out of his seat every time that she tells the students to write what is on the board. The BCBA should begin services now before it gets worse. True or false?
False.
False.
False. So someone be brave and tell me why. Why shouldn't they?
Maybe the
So,
child cannot see, so they need to recommend a visual assessment.
Perfect.
Vision assessment.
Perfect. Good.
Direct
Good
assessment.
job. All right, false. The BCBA should refer him to a medical professional first since he might need glasses. That's good. Awesome. Okay, next we're going to go to conduct a preliminary assessment, which is section G3. It is found on the Mayor page 184 to 193. What is a preliminary assessment? A preliminary assessment is the first part of an indirect assessment. Okay? So during the indirect assessment, what else can be used to gather more data?
Interview with the parents.
Okay, that's one.
Standardized
Checklist.
testing.
Checklist,
Rating scales.
rating scale. Someone said testing?
Yeah, standardized tests.
Okay, good. I think that covers most or all of them. Good. So rating scales, screening forms, verbal behavior assessments, parent interviews, parent-teacher assessments, blah, 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 blah. And the list goes on. So, all right. So next, what does a BCBA need to do in order to determine if there is a need for services?
They go ahead and do the direct assessment.
Direct assessment? Okay, how about before that?
Roll out medical variables.
Test the hypothesis
That was good. So who said rule out medical variables?
Me, Amy.
Amy, good job. So yes, the first thing you do is rule out medical variables, which is what we talked about on the last slide. But then also you have to ask yourself these questions, okay? Number 1, does someone want to read it for me?
Is
Number
it a
one,
safety?
is it a safety concern?
Okay, so is it a safety concern? Number 2, who wants to read that?
Does it affect their well-being?
Okay, number 3,
Does it prevent them from accessing less restrictive environment in other settings, same age periods, losing placement, etc.?
perfect. Okay, someone else, number 4.
Does it prevent them from being mainstreamed?
Okay, so that's what we have to do in that order. First, we're going to rule out medical variables, biological, and then we're going to ask these questions. So basically, we're asking ourselves as behavior analysts. So we are going to basically ask the parents, like, what's going on? What's the behavior that you're seeing? What is your priority? But we're not going to ask them why, because that's what we're there for, okay? And then we're going to ask ourselves these 4 questions. Does anybody have any questions about this?
No.
Okay, great. All right. True and false. The preliminary assessment is a type of parent-teacher interview. It involves filling out questionnaires from both the parent and teacher in order to get enough information to find out if there is a need for services.
False, because there's more to it than that. Right?
Be careful with this question. That's all I'm saying.
But true.
I feel like it's
because it's a type.
preliminary assessment.
I was going to say true is what my guess is.
False. Because
It's more than
Yeah,
just a questionnaire.
Okay, so someone that says true, tell me why you say true.
Because it's a type of assessment. I mean, you can interview the parents or the teachers.
Okay, and then the person that says false, defend yourself.
I just think it's one of those tricky questions where there's only partial information, because the assessment is more than just a parent-teacher interview, and it requires the reviewing of the records and, standardized testing and all the other indirect assessments.
Okay, one of you is right, but I want you guys to look up here.
The preliminary assessment is different from the indirect assessment.
Correct.
So the preliminary assessment,
Rita, you know me, so make sure you look at the question.
I agree with it's more than that. So I don't know, I'll say false.
In order from both, actually, you can get from one. Is that?
Okay.
I mean, I just see that it's a type of interview with the preliminary assessment.
Okay, so this part is correct. This part is true. How about the bottom part? Is that true?
Absolutely not. In order to find out if there's need for services.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is false. It is called a preliminary because it is the initial assessment before the actual interview. Okay? It is usually very simple and straight to the point to find out why there was a request and if there is a need for services. So I have seen mock questions. I'm not going to give details because I'm not allowed to, but mock questions that have said that preliminary assessments can be done even in a car while you're driving. Okay? Preliminary assessments are very simple. It is not a parent-teacher interview. Those are 2 totally different things.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So that's basically, I just wanted to make sure that you guys were looking at what was being asked. So the preliminary assessment is not a type of parent-teacher interview. Okay? Parent-teacher interview, we're getting a lot of information. The preliminary assessment is basically just the initial, where the parents are requesting services and you're just asking them, what is it that they want from us? Okay? Does everyone understand?
Right. I even would go as far as saying that when I think of preliminary assessment, it's also, let's say you work for an agency and they're offering you a case, and you would call the parents to, schedule, like make a schedule. And
Correct.
at that point, you're talking to the parents, so what type of toys does he like to play with, and, things like that. So it's not really something new.
You're not really gathering data in the preliminary assessment.
Right.
You're basically just starting to build rapport, starting to get some very simple information just so you can know what's going on. But it's not like an interview. They're two totally different things. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to identify and make environmental variables, which is section G8. I forgot to write that on there. That's section G8 on the task list, and it's page 10 and 26 on the Mayor book. What does it mean to identify and make environmental changes? Can anyone tell me in their own words? What does that mean?
So like you mentioned in the example that if someone keeps getting up because they need glasses, an environmental arrangement will be like, we'll let them sit closer to the chalkboard so they wouldn't have to get up.
Perfect, that's really good. I love that. That's a great example. Does anybody else want to go for it?
It could be like if he's having trouble in math class, seeing if he could take a math class earlier in the day when he's more focused or more ready.
Good, good. All right, so in my own words, I put that it's to make a simple change that makes a big difference in the behavior prior to beginning the chosen intervention. Okay, so are you allowed to make these, you are allowed to make changes, but this is always done before. This is not done during, okay? If you make changes during, then that's fine, but these environmental variables are addressed before. All right, so some examples, you guys gave a few examples which were great, but some examples that I have for you guys is something as simple as bedwetting, okay? An environmental change that you can do for bedwetting is not giving the child water 1 hour before bed and having the client go to the restroom right before, okay? Another one that I have is when you're distracted or you're trying to escape during homework tasks, maybe you can have the child complete homework in an office away from toys or electronics. The last one I have is waking up throughout the night. So a lot of children that are on the spectrum, they do wake up a lot throughout the night. I've heard that a lot. And then what you can do is maybe they're hungry. So you can give them a snack right before bed. Or if they have toys in their room, you can remove all the toys. Because maybe they wake up in the middle of the night and they play with their toys. And then the last suggestion would be to have visitors come before or after you're gonna make them do homework. Because what happens a lot is if you have visitors come over while the child's doing homework, what's gonna happen? They're gonna try to get their attention. They're gonna try to go away, escape from the task even more. So we're gonna try to avoid that and make visitors come before or after. Does anybody wanna give another example that they might have thought of? No? Questions?
I know that sometimes we like to give a snack before therapy, right? Because then when they come during therapy, they're like, the first thing they say is like, I'm hungry. But if they had the snack before, then they can't use that as an escape during, because we know that they're not starving. They already had their snack and they're already good to go.
Perfect. That's a good one too. Thank you, Tricia. All right, so a BCBA identified an environmental variable and made an immediate change in the environment. This resulted in elimination of one problem behavior. The BCBA should continue services, true or false?
True.
True.
Why is it true?
It says
If there's more than one problem behavior, then the other behaviors need to be assessed to determine if they need intervention.
Perfect. I love that you guys saw the word one. How about if I wouldn't have put the word one? Would it be true?
yes. Oh no.
It would be false.
It would be false. Perfect. Good job, guys. So true. The environmental change only eliminated one problem behavior. There are other behaviors of concern. So yes, so if I wouldn't have put the word one, it would have been false. All right, first mock question. A parent requested services for their child from a newly certified BCBA. What should the BCBA do first? A, direct assessments, B, preliminary assessment, C, functional analysis, or D, VB map assessment?
B.
B.
B. Good job. Good job, guys. All right. Reviewing records and available data involves all of the following except A, collecting ABC data, B, rating scales, C, medical records, or D, prior behavior plan.
A.
Wow, guys, you got this. All right, ready? This is a real one. All right, Raphael never had any problem behaviors. At age 7, he started hitting, biting, and yelling. Okay, I'm gonna start again. Raphael never had any problem behaviors. At age 7, he started hitting, biting, and yelling when upset instead of using his words. The parents requested services from a BCBA. When conducting the preliminary assessment, the parents said that he sometimes complains about his head hurting. What should the BCBA do next? A, assist the parents with requesting respite. B, refer him to see his pediatrician while beginning services. C, begin services right away to help reduce the new behaviors. Or D, refer him to see a neurologist prior to beginning services.
D.
D. D.
D. Okay, so why is it not B?
Because it says while beginning services, and you don't want to refer him
Until they're
and
ruled
start
out.
services before he's seen the pediatrician.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you have to be seen by a neurologist or a
You
physician
want to
first.
rule out any issues before you begin services.
Okay, I want to tell you guys something. I put while beginning services to make it easier for you guys, but what I have always been told by BCBAs while I've been working in the field is try, if you know the details of the problem, try to get them to go to a specialist if possible. If you have no idea what's going on, refer them to the pediatrician. But if you know details, so in this case, we know that his head's hurting. So maybe there's something going on there that can get you to solve the problem faster, okay? If you send them to see a pediatrician, the pediatrician might take a while for the appointment to go through, and then they're gonna refer them out. It's a lot of time being wasted. Maybe it's something that's gonna cause a lot of issues in the future. So yes, it is D. But the reason I explained that was because I was about to put refer him to see a neurologist and then B, refer him to see a pediatrician. So this is where I want you guys to know that if you know details on what's happening, then maybe you should direct them to the right place as fast as possible. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on that?
So basically what you're saying is if B and D were the options, B without while beginning services, that it would be best, the best answer would be D anyways.
Anyways, yes. Even if it didn't say, while beginning services, just because, like I said, you're wasting time. And also, the pediatrician might not solve the problem for everything. So I have personally have had that situation with my own children. So I say always refer them out to specialists if you can. If you have no idea, then don't do it. Just refer them to the pediatrician and let them handle it. But if you have an idea what's going on, just refer them out to whatever doctor you think is the best choice. Like in the situation where I was talking about the child that can't see the board, you pretty much know that it might be a situation to see an optometrist. You know, why send them out to see a pediatrician if they can't see the board? So you're gonna go have them, their eyes get checked out, right?
Right, makes sense.
Okay. All right, so we are all done. If you guys need tutoring, I'm sorry?
That's it.
Yeah. If you guys need
Felt like a quick
tutoring,
one.
you guys know where to get us, and on the website and everything. If just like, share, and subscribe and communicate, you guys have all the information there in front of you. It's leaders@abaexamacademy.com, and if you need to check out our website, abaexamacademy.com. Thank you so much. Do you guys have any questions?
Thanks, Dami. Have a good night, everyone.
You're welcome.
Thank
Good night,
you.
guys.
Thank you, Dami.
Good night.
Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Amy.
Good night.